Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Theological Leftovers. I have been thinking, like many of you, about the upcoming election, and I want to address it at least a little bit. Kind of will be addressing it, I suppose, over the next couple of weeks. But here's what I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about a criticism that has often been leveled against me when I dare to talk about this sort of stuff, and it just struck me how people don't get what I'm talking about. So I'm going to try to explain it, and as always, appreciate your feedback. But here's the thing: I've been accused on more than one occasion when I share my opinion of being a one-issue voter, and the cool thing about that is it frustrates everybody equally. It doesn't matter if you're a progressive or a conservative. When I say basically, here's how I make my consideration who I'm going to vote for, they all get irritated, right? Everybody gets irritated. So I'm equal opportunity when it comes to that thing. I'm pro-life, and ultimately it comes down to that issue for me. But see, even the way I just said it isn't really accurate. And if people understand the issue of life as, see, I just did it again. If people look at life as an issue, as a political issue, then they're missing the whole point, right? I'm not a one-issue voter, but as I look at all the issues, all the truly political issues and social issues that are being addressed, I recognize that there is a foundation. Perspective is too small a word. Worldview is too small a word. There's an understanding. There's a proper understanding or foundation on which I stand on to look at all these issues. And that foundation is life. Life isn't an issue. It isn't one of many different political issues, and how dare you just focus on this one thing? How can you worry about, quote unquote, the issue of life and not worry about the economy, not worry about foreign policy and stuff like that? I'm like, no. Life and a proper understanding of life, and understanding that life is a gift from God that begins at conception and is valuable not based on what that life produces, but the fact that it's created by God, that it's redeemed by Jesus Christ. That foundation is actually what guides me when it comes to considering foreign policy, considering economic issues, and considering really every quote-unquote political or social issue. All the so-called political issues, really, in my opinion, and I don't think this is just opinion, they're only properly addressed when we properly understand that life is not an accident. It's an intentional act of a loving God who has, again, created it and redeemed it, right? And so I don't look at it as an issue. I look at it as the platform on which I stand and properly view all of these other issues. And to make the point, I want to read to you, this is from the most recent edition of Luther's Small Catechism. This isn't what Martin Luther wrote. This is some explanation that has been added that goes with the fifth commandment, right, which talks about the gift of life. Right? So the question is, what do we need to remember about our neighbor when dealing with issues in society, right? So social issues. What do we need to remember? And it says this: we need to remember, it mentions two things. We need to remember these things. God creates, preserves, and protects all life. He is caring and compassionate toward all he has made, and he calls us to be also, right? That's pro-life, right? How am I going to view all these issues in society? Number one, God creates, preserves, and protects all life. He is caring and compassionate towards all that he has made, and he calls us to be also, right? Number two, God gives special dignity or worth and protection to every human life from conception, that is, fertilization, onward. God created humanity in his own image. God's Son became man and shared our human nature. God has redeemed every human life by the holy, precious blood of Christ. Therefore, every human life is precious to God and to Christians. See, that's the platform by which I view all of these social issues. And so when I say I'm a one-issue voter, that's probably a bad way of saying it. But the point is this: I'm viewing what every politician says based on this good news, that life is an intentional act of a loving God that has created it and redeemed it. Okay? There are a couple of verses that that not just I want to share, but that they share to verify what they just wrote. And I just want to read one of them to you. It's from 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 18 through 19. Peter sums it up really well. He says, "You were ransomed from the futile ways inherited from your forefathers, not with perishable things such as silver or gold, but with the precious blood of Christ, like that of a lamb without blemish or spot." Everybody who's trying to deal with the social issues without recognizing the inherent value of life because it's created by God, and the redeemed value of life because it has been bought, purchased by the precious blood of Jesus, is really not going to be able to address those issues properly. And so I'm looking, when I vote, for somebody, maybe who doesn't even completely understand what I just read to you, but at least is willing to stand up and recognize that life, from conception to grave, is a gift from God, no matter what. If you want to call that being a one-issue voter, you can do that, but you're not really right. This is the foundation by which we understand all the issues that are swirling on around us and how to address them properly. Always looking for your feedback. God bless you all, and God bless your week.